The title of my talk is what is the best valved conduit? Actually, this question is somewhat challenging for me because there are many controversies on selection of RVOT conduit. The ideal of RVOT conduit is the conduit the same as native pulmonary valve that functions for whole lifespan without pressure gradient or regurgitation. To meet this condition, the conduit should have a growth potential without degeneration or calcification, no endocarditis, no dilatation or rupture, should be safe and easy in reconstruction. But such an ideal conduit doesn't exist yet, so using the best RVOT conduit is the best way in RVOT reconstruction. What is the best RVOT valve conduit? The longevity of the conduit is usually most importantly considered in selection of RVOT conduit, even though the technical easiness, availability, and costs are also considered. There are 4 kinds of RVOT conduit in contemporary era: autograft, homograft, genograft, and synthetic valve conduit. Autograft is mainly made of autologous pericardium in operating room. There was only one long-term result from Argentina in 2000. They said that the conduit had an excellent 10 years of conduit survival, and the conduit enlarged in 2/3 of the patients, but the valve function disappeared early after implantation. In homograft, many articles revealed that pulmonary homograft had a longer longevity than aortic homograft. So currently, a cryopreserved pulmonary homograft is preferred. In genograft, there are 2 kinds of valve conduit. The one is a porcine valve incorporated with Dacron tube graft. Hancock and Carpenter-Edward valve conduit are widely available in the market. The other one is whole genograft. In whole genograft, the bovine jugular vein valve conduit, so-called Contegra, is the most popular one. In synthetic valve conduit, both valve and conduit are made of synthetic material. The ePTFE valve conduit is the atypical one of this conduit. Cryopreserved pulmonary homograft, porcine valve conduit, bovine jugular vein conduit are widely using valve conduit in contemporary clinical field. So I would like to focus on these conduit in literature review. Advantages and disadvantages of these conduits are compared in this slide. In homograft, is limited in availability and somewhat expensive, but is good in handling and has less infection potential, is less thrombogenic. Bovine jugular vein conduit is good in availability and handling, but it has been known to have a relatively high incidence of late bacterial endocarditis. Porcine valve conduit has a good availability, but has some disadvantage in handling over other conduit, especially for small children, because of a stiff Dacron tube graft. What about longevity, which is the most important factor in selection of RVOT conduit? There are many controversies in longevities of these conduit. This is the result of literature review on the 5-year freedom from conduit reoperation. As you can see here, there is no big difference between in the 5-year freedom from conduit reoperation in these conduit, even though the Contegra has been used more recently. In 10-year freedom from conduit reoperation, it seems that homograft and Contegra had a better result than in porcine valve conduit, even though the Contegra had a much less number of paper and patients. In 15-year freedom from conduit reoperation, homograft, it seems that the homograft has a slightly better result as compared to the porcine valve conduit. In Contegra, there is no data available. There were 5 articles in comparison of a homograft to Pusan-based conduit. 3 articles favored homograft. Among 7 articles in comparison of a homograft to the Contegra, 4 articles favored the Contegra. This is a most recent and largest scale comparison between homograft, Contegra, and Pusan heterograft, which is from Texas Children's Hospital, published in this year. The central message of this article is that bovine jugular vein grafts are associated with 9-fold great risk of late endocarditis and the low reintervention rate compared with other RVPA conduit. As you can see in the upper figure, the Contegra has lowest freedom from endocarditis. The incidence of late endocarditis of the Contegra conduit was 6%. But in bottom figure, Contegra had a better freedom from reintervention as compared to the aortic or pulmonary homograft. The conduit performance of small conduit in small baby is very important, but the number of articles is very limited. This article compares the homograft and Contegra in neonatal truncus repair. The aortic homograft had the best result, but the number of patients were too small. This paper reported the result of homograft conduit in truncus repair in early infancy before 6 months of age. The 2-year freedom from conduit reoperation was 76%, which is excellent. This paper compared the Contegra and homograft in infant truncus repair. 3-year freedom from replacement was 96% for Contegra, but only in 69% in homograft. This paper compared all these 3 conduit in infant RVOT procedure. There was no big difference in a 5-year conduit longevity, but they stressed that moderate conduit stenosis or insufficiency developed earlier in patients with a Contegra conduit. This paper compared the bovine jugular vein, the Contegra and pulmonary homograft in children less than 2 years of age. Contegra had a much better result as compared to the homograft in terms of freedom from conduit dysfunction and freedom from conduit explantation. Recently, Dr. Jonas reported the result of cryopreserved femoral vein homograft. They concluded that there is this conduit has nearly similar longevity to the aortic or pulmonary homograft, but the follow-up duration was much shorter in cryopreserved femoral vein homograft. But anyway, I think the cryopreserved pulmonary femoral vein homograft has a great advantage in size matching and in handling for the very small infant or neonate. I'd like to introduce some promising conduit. One of the promising conduit, the decellularized homograft. The CryoLife released the decellularized homograft in 2000. Decellularization process is removing cell component from the conduit using a detergent or enzyme treatment. As you can see here, there is no cell here. This paper showed lower immunogenicity with the decellularized homograft than in the patient with the standard homograft. This multicenter study compared the decellularized homograft to the standard homograft. There was no significant differences in longevity of these conduits. But the decellularized homograft had improved hemodynamic function in a peak gradient and the pulmonary insufficiency, you can see here. This is very new article from Germany, Hannover University. They used the decellularized fresh homograft. They reported 10 years of their experience. As you can see here, in decellularized pulmonary homograft, 10-year conduit survival was 100% with excellent valve function. But in conventional pulmonary homograft and the Contegra, it was 84% respectively. Also, the decellularized homograft had excellent freedom from endocarditis. In freedom from explantation and severe stenosis, the decellularized homograft had the best result, and the Contegra had the worst result. These two figures are very interesting because it shows us some possibility of growth potential in decellularized pulmonary homograft. As you can see here, this figure, in the patient with the bovine jugular vein, the pulmonary valve size are decreasing with the time. But in the patient with the decellularized homograft, the pulmonary valve size keeps between the G value -2 and the +2, even though the time goes on. I'd like to introduce another promising conduit. This is which is a PTFE valve conduit. The upper one, this one is developed by Dr. Yamagishi in Japan. The low one, this one is developed by us. 0-point thin PTFE membrane has a good biocompatibility and the compact microporous structures that impede cellular penetration, which make it resistant to calcification and to provide longer mobility of the valve cusps. As you know well, PTFE tube graft has been widely used in extracardiac fontaine operation because it has less pill formation and is less thrombogenic. The valve conduit is created using these two materials. Dr. Yamagishi reported their excellent mid-term result in 2011 through a multi-center study in Japan. The 10-year survival of the conduit was 95%. But making this PTFE valve conduit with bulging sinus is not easy. I think it is very technical demanding. So we developed a very simplified technique for making PTFE valve conduit. It is very easy. Every surgeon can make this conduit. We use this conduit in 39 patients in our hospital. In more than 100 patients, small conduit, 12 millimeter, 14 millimeter were used. The pressure gradient through RVOT at discharge was 11.2 millimeter mercury. At latest follow-up, 25 millimeter mercury. There is no there is no moderate regurgitation at discharge and also at latest follow-up. There is only 2 patients with a conduit failure. So the 5-year freedom from conduit failure was 89%. Only 1 patient required conduit explantation due to technical error. 5-year survival, 5-year freedom conduit explantation was 86%. Take-home messages. Bovine jugular vein conduit compares well with the homograft and maybe advantages in conduit performance and longevity. And also, this has a great advantage over homograft in its availability. But high incidence of late endocarditis should be concerned. Decellularized homograft has been a promising conduit, but longer follow-up should be needed. Totally synthetic PTFE valve conduit have excellent mid-term result in hemodynamics and durability. Good long-term results can be expected. Thank you very much for your attention.